Finally, we have another addition to the Transformers 1 Sentinel Shrine. I have been longing for this day. From Studio Series, this is the Voyager class Transformers 1 Sentinel Prime. So far, it's the largest Transformers 1 figure we've gotten, both in terms of price point and in terms of size, unless you count some of the more crazy gimmick toys. You can see here, the box is terrible, because it's Studio Series boxes now, but bad background, little strip, render, Sentinel Prime, never did anything wrong. He never did anything wrong, never did. This is actually so funny to me. Sentinel Prime is a leader of Icon City and fights to save Cybertron from the Quintessons. First of all, he's not a leader, he's the leader. Second of all, the movie's been out for 8 months now. Are we really still coy about this? Also, that's a bad screen cap. And then his arm. Yeah, I hate the boxes. I hate the boxes. I hate the boxes. Looking at Sentinel straight out of the box, he's beautiful. He's honestly one of the best looking Studio Series figures I've ever seen. Don't get me wrong, Sentinel is a very strong design. It helps that the proportions, the colors, the shapes, they're all simple yet still so dignified and powerful looking. It's one of the best looking designs Transformers has ever produced, and this toy, even if it doesn't capture that design perfectly, comes very, very close. If I had one issue with this Sentinel, it's the wings, but also they're closer than any other toy version of Sentinel, aside from non-transforming things like Blocky's Classic class. You take what you can get sometimes, and I still think that one nitpick aside, this is a really nice Sentinel. The head sculpt is just perfect, exactly what I want out of Sentinel. I love just how endlessly noble he looks. For anyone who hasn't seen the movie, Sentinel is not an actual Prime. He's a traitor. He betrayed the 13 Primes to the Quintessons, and he has been intentionally starving Cybertron ever since. He decides who works and who dies. He forces people to live their entire lives as slaves because he rips out transformation cogs of random protoforms. He is a big allegory for class consciousness. What do you want me to say? He is a villain as written by Marx, and Marx was right. So, there we are. I really love Sentinel. His design, John Hamm's performance, everything just works for me. And it helps that you have this wonderful head design. When I think of Sentinel Prime now, I think of this Sentinel Prime. Just looking over the body here, you have a really tight swivel here at the head, as well as some up and down. I think that's going to get looser as you mess around with it, but just be aware it's very stiff. You have a universal here at the shoulder. You have not an upper arm cut, but this kind of below the shoulder cut. You can have a second joint in here, so you have a universal on top of a hinge here. You have an elbow joint, it goes that far with the 90. Nothing in the wrist, but a solid waist, a universal for the hip, a good upper leg cut, a very solid knee, gets you just under the 90, and then down here for the feet, you got side to side, back and forth. It looks really nice, especially with how the booties still come together so cleanly. One of the best parts about this Sentinel, if you remember the movie, he is able to form a blaster out of his forearm, and I was expecting a big transformation. No, it's literally just you pull it forward, and boom, it looks just like the blaster did in the movie. It could have used a little bit of paint right there to be exactly the same. Now, you can do it to... Oh no. You can do it to both arms, so if you want, he can dual-wield his GoBot gun hands. But I love how simple that is. It's so intuitive, but it gets you what you want. However, Sentinel has more than just those built-in weapons. He's definitely an accessory girly. Sentinel comes with 2 blasters. This is more for his jet mode, but he still has them. If you want, he can hold them like normal guns. Boop. That looks okay. It actually kind of reminds me of Padme's blaster, just longer. You can put them here on the upper arms, give him kind of a seeker look. Unfortunately, that tab there kind of gets in the way just a little bit. I'm sure that parts of this is going to become Starscream. I don't know what parts, but I'm convinced parts of this body will become that deluxe class Starscream. It helps that Sentinel does already look so much like the Seekers, which I think is the point, because Sentinel at one point was a part of the High Guard. I really like the guns, though. And, of course, you also have the shield. And if you want, you can just put the guns here on the shield. Bada boom. bada boom. And then if you want, you just have this tab on the forearm, you can put it on the shield. Boop, and then he has his beautiful Energon shield, looking all regal and majestic, as Sentinel is wont to do. He really does look so good. He's nearly perfect. My only complaint, and I know I've already brought it up, it's the wings. The wings have the right shape. These are the only wings to actually give you the proper angel wings that Sentinel should have, but it's just this, the kibble. I wish that was a little bit smoother, because right now that does draw my eye. I want to be able to flex the wings out, make him look like Hawkman, but every time I do, I just see a lot of hollowed out plastic bits. That's the one issue I have with this Sentinel. I'm sure someone like DNA Design is going to fix that, but if there's one thing keeping this from being a perfect 10 out of 10, it's just those wings. It's as close to being perfect as possible for a Voyager class Studio Series figure in 2025. I really do love Sentinel. I just wish that if I had to have a tiny issue, that tiny issue wasn't half the length of the figure. Here the new Sentinel is alongside my Prime Changer Sentinel. For any longtime viewers of the channel, you would know that as soon as that guy got announced, I was salivating for him. I went toy hunting multiple times a day for 2 weeks until I was able to nab him. This was... I'll say it now, because I never got to do that top 10 list because I had my crash out. That is my favorite Transformer of 2024. It was my favorite to play with, it was my favorite to pose, it was my most surprising, it was my most anticipated. I loved that Sentinel so much. I don't have a favorite between these two. I do think this is the better Sentinel. I think it's the more accurate Sentinel. I like messing with that Sentinel more. But I had so much more fun hunting down that Sentinel, anticipating that Sentinel. Like, the hunt for those Prime Changers is one of my fondest memories of any Transformer I've ever had. And in getting them in hand and all of them being great, that was so magical. I love this Sentinel a ton, but they're equal to me. I would never get rid of either of them. I think they're both still great Sentinels, but this is the better figure, this is the better value, this is more impressive, this is still such a good one though. Here this Sentinel is alongside the, was this Robot Battlers Sentinel? Basically the Rock'em Sock'em robots, the One-Step Changer, and the Blocky's Galaxy version. Okay, you know what? Get the other Sentinel in here. It's time for a hidden top 5. Da-da-da-da-da. We're ranking my Sentinel Primes. So from worst to best. I think the worst one is this Rock'em Sock'em Sentinel. Still really nice, but too much money for what it is. Then the One-Step Changer. That Sentinel. Oh, this is actually kind of tough now. Okay. I still really like the... it's all going downhill. I didn't plan this. I still really like this Sentinel. This Sentinel is number 3, though. It means more to me than some of the other Sentinels, but it's number 3. Then you got Blocky's Galaxy version Sentinel as number 2, and then this one is number 1. There we are. That's Ron Bondajohn's official ranking of these 5 particular Sentinel Prime toys. Really, any one of these 3 are winners. Those 2 just get if you're like me and you're sick in the head. Sadly, neither Blocky's Sentinel nor Studio Series Sentinel scale all that well with the Prime Changer Quintesson Commander. Go watch his review if you want me to accidentally make Sentinel give him a blowjob. Poor One-Step Changer Arachnid. I really hope that Blocky's gives us Arachnid. I'm really worried Studio Series won't touch Arachnid, and that breaks my heart because Arachnid's such a good design. And it feels wrong to have so many versions of Sentinel without Arachnid. It's like having 5 James without any Jesse. You can't have a great duo of villains and only make a lot of one of them. That's insane, Hasbro. Here, Studio Series Sentinel is alongside the Cogless model kits from Galaxy version Blockies. And the funny thing is, not only do these guys kind of match up aesthetically, they're actually in perfect proportion to each other. That is how big Minor Optimus was compared to Sentinel. I love it. I love the crossover of the scales here. Just another reason as to why Blockies is the best thing going right now. And then here Sentinel is alongside the Studio Series Transformers 1 Optimus and Megatron. If anything, this is just showing how good of value Optimus and Megatron are, that Optimus towers over a Voyager and Megatron is as tall as one. Don't get me wrong, Sentinel has more components to him. He has more gimmickry, more accessories, more paint. But yeah, these two are way bigger than I thought they were going to be. I thought that they would be like shoulder height to Sentinel. Instead, the three of them are like on eye level. That's actually really nice. I'm glad that's how this worked out. Of course, Sentinel's probably not too happy about having Optimus and Megatron attack him right here, right now, which is why it's a good thing Sentinel doesn't just have a robot mode, but also has an armored mode. Look, the armored mode showed up on screen for like 5 seconds. Seeing it like all rendered out is kind of weird. I remember it looking more like Sephiroth's one-winged angel, and not quite so, jank, but I do like it. I'm glad that you have so many flip-out weapons. And by the way, you can just do this in the normal robot mode too. But just to go over the stuff, you flip out little blasters for the shoulders, you fold down the barrel to go over the hand, you flip out the thruster so he's just always flying now. In the legs, you flip out these blasters, and you disconnect the chest to give you more kind of a, width. My favorite part is that he does have a new battle mask. Looks really nice. Now, I saw that on the packaging, I thought it would be a thing where, like, oh, I bet it kind of, like, slides out from the sides. I found out the reason why Sentinel's head was so hard to move earlier. It's because it literally just flips down and hangs out down here, which is why you have such a hard time moving the head. Be very careful with that. You could just snap this mask off. In all honesty, though, if you want, you could just have the mask, like, always up. That actually looks pretty cool. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. So, the battle mode looks really nice. How does the jet mode look? Sentinel is actively making the rest of Transformers look bad. This was a beautiful transformation. Every single step, all I could think was how clever. Like, it's not that complicated, a transformation even. The legs barely do anything, but it all comes together to give you such an awesome jet mode. Again, very similar to Beast Machine's Jetstorm. A lot of him in this guy, but I just love this. This is my favorite jet in Transformers now. It's very similar to Dirge in colors, but it's so sleek, and this beautiful blue they used. It's not paint, that's just plastic, but they found a great glimmery plastic to make it look regal. I love Sentinel. I love Sentinel. I love this toy. I love this design. I love this voice. I love this character. If you want, you can put the shield on. I don't think it does much. I think it actually kind of takes away from the design, but, you can if you want to. But why would you? Why would you when it looks this good from every angle? Also, hey Sentinel, if you want, you could totally just turn his head around and he can always just be like, hey guys, in fact, let's do that. Let me do that right now. Let me do that right now. Okay, am I going to be able to do it? A little bit. I'm going to need more clearance. Come on. No, I'm going to have to transform him more to do it. Oh well, the point is you can if you want to. And I love this toy. I love this toy. I think it's one of the best Transformers I've messed with in years. So much fun, such great size, such great play, such good feeling joints. It's perfect. Aside from the issues with the gribble at the on the backpack, there's not a single flaw I have with this toy. I normally don't show transformations just because personally when I'm watching a review I don't want to see transformations. I like to discover those for myself. But this is something I need to show. When I talk about how brilliant the engineering is here, I just need you to see this. For this backpack, there's a double joint. It's a double jointed backpack, so here's the top of the jet, and instead of folding up the way you'd expect, like Seeker wings, it instead goes flush against the body like so that you can fold down the cockpit. That's the type of engineering I would love to see on a Starscream. It's such ingenious engineering if you can't get rid of the nose cone. So here we are. A beautiful Sentinel with so many great tricks. This is already a strong contender for Figure of the Year for me. And I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting much out of this Sentinel. I thought I would like it just because of who it is. And yet here I am, completely amazed by how much they squeezed into this guy. A near perfect toy. If you are a Transformers fan, if you're a Transformers 1 fan, if you like toys, if you like John Hamm, if you are a person alive today, I'd recommend this Sentinel. Even if you're not into Transformers, it's such a good toy with such great gimmicks unique to him. I cannot get enough of this toy, and I cannot sing enough praises of it. Just a masterclass.